Donald Trump is just a day away from his much-anticipated speech on immigration. Many are hoping the Republican nominee will clarify his policy tomorrow in Arizona. In the last few weeks, Trump has suggested his position is softening, changing his promise to deport all undocumented immigrants to a narrower focus on illegal immigrant criminals. Trump tweeting just hours ago, quote, "From day one, I said that I was going to build a great wall on the southern border," and much more. Stop illegal immigration. Watch Wednesday. Okay, Lisa, I'm going to go to you. So it seems like he's been softening a little bit, and I want to know how he's going to be able to soften his stance on immigration but not angering the base of supporters.
Well, and so what you're pointing out, no matter what he does, he's going to get hit. Because the reality is, if he sticks with his original position on mass deportations, he's going to be labeled as inhumane by the left and the mainstream media. If he changes his position to soften it on his policy issues, not just the rhetoric, then it's a flip-flop. So no matter what he does, he's going to get hit. But I do think that there's a little bit of over-sensationalized sensationalism that's going on here with this. One, no matter what he says, is ultimately going to be stronger than anything Hillary Clinton would put forward, who has literally given illegal immigrants a platform on the Democratic National Committee convention platform and on the floor. And then secondly, if you look at the issues that Hispanics actually care about in this country, it's jobs, it's education, and comprehensive immigration reforms, typically around 4 on the list of issues they care about.
No, I think that's right. I mean, you got to step back and look at the larger frame, and that's the context in which he has to give the speech to say, hey, I'm going to lay out some details here, and details are important and they matter ultimately. But the support for Donald Trump came from the belief that he will enforce laws, he will build a wall, he will make sure that we have real sovereignty in our country. Those will still apply. He's going to have some level of a wall. He's going to deport some, maybe allow some to stay, who knows. Sanctuary cities are a big deal amongst those who believe in the rule of law. So I think he can stay within bounds where he might lose a few hardcores, but he's not going to ditch the wall. And so he'll keep most of his people. The question is, can he pull in a few more?
Yeah, so from his surrogates in recent days, the theme that we've kind of gotten from him or through them is that he's going to stick with this core idea of just enforcing the laws as they are on the books. Now, that is somewhat of a departure from deporting 11+ million people. However, if he just stuck to those 66,000 or so convicted criminals in the United States, he would be somewhat mimicking what President Obama is doing right now. I would assume he would just upgrade that and do it expeditiously. But I do think the challenge right now isn't for Donald Trump, it's for Hillary Clinton. I mean, quite frankly, outside of her website and a few ancillary mentions, we haven't heard a direct big speech like this from Hillary Clinton, the other candidate.
I don't think we will.
And so this week she's going to be talking about Uma Abedin and some other things. As we've seen, it's only Tuesday. Maybe she can shift gears. He's going to give a big, important speech. The question is, can then she toggle back to the issues on an issue that she hasn't given a big speech on yet? She's going to be having to answer back with what? Amnesty.
Yeah,
and she does have it on her website, but that's not the same.
But she's not going to answer on the issue of immigration. She can't touch it because she is too concerned about winning the Latino vote. Maybe Trump can't win over that many. What George Bush in 2004 got 44% of the Latino vote, and then it fell off dramatically for Mitt Romney in the most recent election. But if you look at the deportation numbers from President Obama, he hit record number of deportations annually, and he was actually deporting more illegal immigrants who weren't criminals, who were non-criminals toward the end before they started backing off of it. But I think to your point that as long as Trump is coherent and all he's trying to say is, we're not going to go from home to home and raiding people's homes and putting people on buses.
Because that is the perception
and driving
that
them out
fostered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But driving them out of the country, I think that he's just trying to appeal to people who might be on the fence about him, those Republicans.
All right. Growing concerns now about Iran as dangerous confrontations with our Navy are happening more and more frequently than previously thought. A defense official now says the number of provocations between Iranian vessels and the U.S. Navy have nearly doubled in the first half of 2016 compared to the same time last year. There were 4 incidents just in the last week. First, Iranian ships got too close to the USS Nitze. They ignored repeated radio whistle and flare warnings and only slowed down when they were 300 yards away. Similar incidents followed involving the USS Squall, which ended up firing warning shots, and with the USS Tempest, and with the USS Stout. In just the past hour, we should tell you, the CENTCOM Commander General weighed in on the provocations.
Iran's actions here are in the Arabian Gulf are unlike anybody else. No one else does what they do. And what we see with the Iranians is not particularly responsible. It is provocative in some cases, and it's unsafe, and it can lead to situations where we may not be able to de-escalate.
I know I was in the way back of the room at the Pentagon briefing because I was here actually on the set. You couldn't see my hand in the air, but what I would have asked was, to the general, to the CENTCOM commanding general, was there anything that you know about in that Iran deal that would lead them to believe that these kinds of provocations would be A, tolerated, and B, more frequent? And I don't know if he would say, I don't know what he would say. Maybe he would say...
Well, he'd stay within the bounds of what he's supposed to say, but you say ICBMs...
But you get on the record asking the question.
Of course.
To the people who are having to defend our people out there in those waters.
And you know what they say publicly might be different, is very different from what they would say candidly, privately. Get them on the... I agree. We need to ask those types of questions.
Let's not spin this. We gave $400 million in secret airplane, unmarked bills.
Leverage?
Something out of a weird movie. We signed the Iran deal, gave $1.3 billion to these people. These people have leverage. They know they can jerk us around, do whatever we want. We're just giving them money. This is crazy. It is the failed, feckless foreign policy of the Obama administration. And I said it before, I'll say it again. This, above all else, is what my grandchildren are going to feel the repercussions of this administration.
Our policy is to alienate our allies and placate our enemies, our gravest enemies on this planet Earth. The list goes on, Megan. It's not just the money. It's we didn't enforce the red line in Syria because Iran threatened to walk away from the nuclear deal negotiations. It is a ballistic missile test. They are doing more than just thumbing their nose at the American people, and it's disgusting. And again, death to America, chanted over and over again.
Two things about that deal that you just mentioned. That ballistic missiles testing, Lisa, is actually in violation of that deal. We saw that with Samantha Power at the UN. She wanted to push forward with some sort of sanctions. Where is that conversation now?
Well, exactly, Harris. It flies in the face of international law. And look, this just comes down to largely common sense. If you reward someone for acting badly, they're going to continue acting badly. You have kids. I'm sure this is something you've experienced with your kids. I know it's something my parents have probably experienced with me.
What do you mean?
I'm sure not your children, but everyone else who has kids. Yeah. But of course, look what happened after we struck the deal with Iran. They put our sailors on the ground, had them bend at their knees, pointed guns at their head, and shot it for propaganda
So I want to know how the
Commander General
reward them and others feel about that.
They're hoping for a new commander-in-chief. They're looking for somebody at the top that will untie their hands. They don't fire warning shots just for fun. That doesn't happen. We didn't do that in Iraq or elsewhere unless there was a very potential threat on the horizon. That's exactly what they were doing.
But once we're on our knees in front of them, how does that change?
They know
You've built a statue of our guys like that.
You've got Ahmadinejad calling out President Obama, saying you've got $2 billion of Iranian money. We want it back, even though it's earmarked for the victims of Iran-sponsored terrorism.
So
they still want it back.
This idea of leverage. We were doing a huge deal with them. The world was watching this deal with Iran. Why did we need to give them $400 million to get our people back? Didn't they already respect the leverage that we had?
And I thought we don't negotiate with terrorists and we don't pay ransoms. I mean, you know, if you want to get down to this, Kayla Mueller was in Arizona that was killed by ISIS. We didn't pay ransom to get her back. She died. So, I mean, of everything President Obama has done for the last 7.5 years, this by far makes my blood boil. And it's hard for me not to get emotional about it because, again, Iran knows they can do whatever they want. We have a weak president who will not act because he cares more about looking good and not getting into conflict, not doing anything. And right now, our enemies know we're weak. And I pray to God, whoever is next in leadership in the White House puts these people where they're supposed to be. Because right now we are. I mean, how vulnerable we are right now. It actually makes me emotional.
Pete, you serve last word.
No, there is an unholy Russian-Iranian axis forming in the Middle East in that region, totally emboldened by the Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton foreign policy that ran toward that Iran deal and hit a reset button that only emboldened Vladimir Putin. If you want to change in foreign policy, you better not go the direction of Hillary Clinton because you're going to get more of the same.
We'll move on. A top university reportedly has hired a former top Al-Qaeda recruiter. I can't wait to get Pete's take on that. He's a man who once praised the Fort Hood shooter. They say he is reformed and can now be trusted. We'll talk about it.
Gosh.